Do you want to give an introduction, like
Absolutely.
why I'm here?
Yeah, absolutely. So perfect. Welcome everyone. So everyone here, I believe, is related in some way to my productivity journal, the Squirrel Journal, or the system around it, done in '91. And one of the things I was looking at as I was recently re-looking at the content I'm providing as part of it, vision boards just kind of came into my mind. And the idea of manifesting, the idea of like having these like a power phrase or word. And I looked on Instagram, the hashtag vision board, and I found Debbi. So Debbi, for anyone who doesn't know, this is Debbi Sluys, who's also in Ontario, which is kind of cool. And reached out through Instagram. We had a great chat, and I said, let's just put together something. As of today, I think there's 99 days or 98 days until the end of the year. And I was like, September's the new January, a chance for people to really finish the year strong, which I'm all about. So Debbi, I'm very happy to have you here. So I'll let you, of course, introduce yourself, but I know that Debbi has a background in education, just like me, and then transition into the world of helping people manifest the life that they want. So welcome, Debbi.
Thank you. Thanks so much. Thanks for being here. 8 o'clock at night. But I'm finding that time's kind of relative in a way, because it just feels like, you know, if you're like Jill, if you're saying you're talking to different people, different countries, it's like figuring out time zones. And tomorrow I have a workshop at 4:30 a.m. and I'm like, why is it 4:30 a.m.? Well, that's because it's 9:30 a.m. in the UK, right? So it's just kind of all so. But anyways, thank you for being here. And yeah, I'm really excited that Galen asked me to do this, and I am passionate about visioning and vision boards. And a little bit of background about this workshop tonight. It happened a little bit by accident, which I think so many things, like, you know, great experiments or things just kind of like, oh, well, that worked. That was kind of cool. We should probably do that again. And what happened was I was part of a wedding show, and I wanted to promote vision boards and with brides. And I was trying to think, well, what can I do? Not bring a whole big vision board, but something that would be beneficial to brides. And so I thought, what about a word that would inspire them for their day? And so I connected with my daughter, who does all these other products. The two of us had this booth. Well, it was the busiest booth of the night. It just went over gangbusters. So I realized I was onto something, that people really appreciate having a word that is inspiring. And I'll talk more about that, about something. So hopefully by the end of tonight, you'll be able to be inspired to choose a word that, like as Galen said, will finish your year off strong. So many people have talked about 2020, you know, the memes are out there about, you know, disastrous year, but it doesn't have to be that way. And it's not too late to pivot and to get committed to your vision and to your actions and to your goals. So I'll share my screen here. Everybody can see that okay? Okay, so as Galen said, my name is Debbi Sluys. I'm in Chatham, Ontario. So I think I'm about 3 or 4 hours from Galen, I think, something like that, yeah. And I'm very south. And I started my company 3 years ago. When I say start, I mean, literally it was an idea, like holy, excuse my language, idea. Like, what? Like, that's crazy. Is that what you're gonna do? So it was that kind of, you know, I should do this. And so I started my company called Dare to Declare. And I started doing vision board workshops. And that winter of 2017-18, I built a studio. I started opening my doors 2018 and doing workshops, and it just continued to grow. So my story is very much like a vision board, like visioning, where I had the vision 3 years ago as a crazy idea. And as of July 8th, like 2 months ago, I fully retired from my corporate career of 30 years as in education. I was a director of a childcare organization, and have fully stepped into Dare to Declare and coaching. So the power of what you're doing tonight is just the seed here, the beginning with words, but a vision board can be super powerful to create the life that you want. So I hope if you have a piece of paper and a pen, I hope that you brought that, as Galen had mentioned. I'd like you to think for a few moments here about what would you do if time and money were no object. So try to keep it, you know, as point form as possible. Maybe just list things and write that down for yourself. What would you do if time and money were no object? So I'll give you a minute to do that.
Jill said she has to find some paper, so.
Okay.
I feel bad if Jill
We'll
didn't
give
know
more
that
than
we
a
needed
minute, then I'll
paper.
give a couple minutes. So and if you're saying travel, like be specific. Where do you want to travel to? How? By boat, by plane, by train, automobile? I'll give you another minute. So time and money were no object. What would you do? What I find really interesting, and I don't know if Galen wants to chime in on this, but is that COVID gave us time, especially initially when everything was just shut down. And, the number one thing that I, heard from our employees and from my friends would be, I don't have enough time, I don't have enough time. And then we got time. And, people were saying it's just sifting away. Like, I just feel like, it just kind of came here and I have it. And then now what am I doing with it? So it's just an interesting thing to think of, is that sometimes what we wish for and what we actually do are two different things, and being intentional about that. So does anybody want to raise their hand? Is there anyone who wants to contribute and share, and we can unmic yourself and share some of your answers, maybe your top couple of answers?
I can. This is Marty.
Hi, Marty.
I apologize for not having my video on, but I am not very presentable.
Okay. Well, then we thank you.
I didn't I didn't plan well. So I was going to jokingly say to you guys, just picture this ravishingly handsome guy.
Okay.
Oh, goodness. So I have always said that when I retired, and I'm very close to retirement age, but I've always said that when I retired, I was going to sell hot dogs on a beach in Hawaii. And I could spend all my days on a beach in Hawaii and be perfectly happy. And then when you mentioned travel, something occurred to me, and you said be specific about how you would travel. So for me, I read once about a woman, and I think there's other people that do this too, but this particular woman lived on a cruise ship year round. And she went, from cruise ship to cruise ship as she needed to, whenever they changed positions or whatever she needed to do. I don't know. But anyway, I just think what a hoot to live on a cruise ship year round, because, the food's all there, the doctor's there, there's whatever you need on a cruise ship, as long as we don't have disease,
Yeah.
Which is a consideration today. But I could get into that as well. So anyway, that's
awesome.
Yeah.
It's awesome. How does it feel when you thought that way? What were you feel like? What does that feel like?
It just feels like exciting and fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've always loved to travel, and I have cruised a lot in my past, and I've always thought that cruising was so much fun because it's kind of mindless. About the biggest decision you have to make is what you're going to have for dessert that night. And so that's why I've always loved cruising, is that it's just kind of talk about just letting everything go while you're on a cruise ship.
Right.
I
guess you lose track of the days and the time and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people who cruise don't like days at sea, but I always loved the days at sea where there was nothing planned, because I'm not much into doing a lot of the excursions and things like that. So for me, days at sea were just perfect, where you could just relax and read a book and nobody expected you to be out doing anything else. So it's nice.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thanks for sharing.
You're welcome.
Anyone else want to share? If time and money were no object, what would you do? Go ahead, Jill.
So interestingly, mine was exactly what I'm doing now, except a little backwards. Right now, I'm like doing all this world-changing stuff and wishing I had time for myself. The first thing I wrote down was like, so much time for myself. I don't need to do anything. And then I'm like, oh, with all that time, I would want to start doing world-changing things, but I'd be coming at it from a place of being rejuvenated and relaxed and having lots of energy to give it, as opposed to right now where I'm just stressed out all the time.
Beautiful. So self-care and making a difference in the world. Thank you. Yeah, that's awesome. Susan, did you want to contribute?
So I guess I'm trying to work toward some of the things that I would do if time and money were no object. I'm writing, and although I would like to write fiction someday, right now I'm writing nonfiction about organizing and decluttering and habits and things like that. So some of it is related to rethinking my my organizing business, because I no longer feel comfortable going into people's houses.
Ah, okay. All right. So setting aside what you're doing now, if time and money were no object and you had, like Marty said, no obligations, and you
Yeah.
would you be writing fiction?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So hold on to that. That's big. That's good. Great. Did you write that down?
Yes.
Okay. Brilliant. Galen, I didn't want to exclude you. I didn't know if you were contributing or not, but.
Sure, I'll go for it. Yeah, I wrote so travel, a trip that we were supposed to do earlier this year and didn't. So it's traveling to Belgium and Israel and Italy with my wife and kids. Something we had planned that didn't happen, so that's still on my list of things that want to have happen. That was supposed to happen in March and got canceled. But the thing that really rose to the top was interview top entrepreneurs on my podcast. Chris Voss, Stephen Pressfield, or thought leaders like Brene Brown and Jen Sincero. So I put that on my list.
Fabulous. Okay, we're going to talk more about that. That's super exciting. Okay. So some of the materials that you're going to need. Now, you're not going to actually construct your card right now. We won't have the time to do that tonight, but I'm going to walk you through how to create your card. And I don't know if Galen's going to talk later about where you might want to display your card in terms of social media. So we can talk a bit more about that after. So you'll need cardstock. I should go, sorry, I can't go back there, but you can just use like a file card, like a recipe card, or if you have a greeting card, somebody sent you a birthday card or something like that, you can just repurpose the back of it. So as long as it, something that's got a little bit of weight to it, and that's what cardstock is. Yep, Jill, you got it. Is it heavier? Is it kind of a little bit heavier? Yeah, just a little bit more than just what you've got. Like you want something a little heavier than just lined paper, something that's got a little bit of sturdiness to it. So you'll need a pair of scissors. You'll want a glue stick or just, school glue. And then you may want a Sharpie. I'm always like, who doesn't need a Sharpie? We all need Sharpies in our life. I'm addicted to Sharpies. You'll want to have a notebook, which if you don't already have that tonight with you, and a pen. And then you may wish to also include some stickers. So this is totally optional. If you don't have children in your home, or you're not a crafty person, you might be kind of freaking out about this. You don't need to, this is totally optional, but these are very reasonable. You can get them at the dollar store. If you haven't ever hung out in the craft aisle, they're right in the, the craft aisle. There's all kinds of stickers, and sometimes you can also get stamps. So those are some extra things that you may want to do to embellish your card. But the primary source that you're going to want is magazines. So I've just included a couple here, my Oprah magazines, and then I've also included a catalog. It's a direct sales catalog there. So anything that you've got in your home that would have some images that you can cut out, or you could print them off the internet as well. But there's something very gratifying about, I'm a paper girl, like something very gratifying about actually having the magazine or having the catalog and ripping the pages out. It's kind of funny when, like I said, I have a studio in Chatham and I have, I don't know, 1,000, I'm not even exaggerating, magazines. And they've been like bunnies. They've just been multiplying. Like friends just drop them off and they just kind of show up. It's just been incredible. But women are a bit, and I have a few men too, and timid, you know, when they're coming to my studio to do the vision board, they're kind of like, you know, cut, and then sort of slowly rip. But you know, by the hour, they're like, this is awesome. I'm like, I know. So, and then to have your stack. But that's when you're doing a full vision board. Tonight, we're just talking about the power hour, power card to develop your power word. So the second exercise is to think about, and I just would like you to have this more timed because it is part of the exercise and the magic happens with the timing piece. So answer the question, what do you want? And use 1 or 2 word answers and create a list. And I'm going to give you the go. So whatever pops in your mind, don't second guess it, don't analyze it. What do you want? And write it down. Okay, and stop. So I want you to take a look at your list and see if there's any words on there that are thematic, where they're repeated. So you think, oh, you know what, that's kind of like that one, and that's kind of like that one. So are there anything that kind of shows up that is similar? And then I would like, the second question I have to ask you is there anything that popped out at you? You're like, whoa, where did that come from? I didn't know that I wanted that. And that kind of popped out. So does anybody want to share responses to either or both of those questions? I can't see everybody. I see that there's someone else that came in too, right, Galen? I only have a list of you and Jill and Susan and Marty, but is there someone else as well that joined?
Yes, Tiffany joined without video.
Okay, so I can't see her. So if Tiffany, if you want to participate, if you want to do, is there a raise your hand feature on here?
There is. As a participant, I don't have the hand raised, but I think participants do. Okay. So one thing that popped up for me, it was funny, I had one word pop up, and I don't know if I'm cheating because I'm typing, because I type really fast, but so I had like 20 words, but love popped up 3 different times. I just kept writing it over. It was just like love, then 5 words, love, then 5 words, love, then 5 words. It's pretty funny. And then the one that just surprised me out of the blue, and I'm like, don't know where that came from. It was the word leadership. Just popped up, just like out of nowhere.
So all of these exercises that we're doing right now is going to support you to choose your power word. So thinking about love, thinking about leadership and what you really want. And then the word that you're going to be looking at is going to support you, to inspire you to create that vision for what you want in your life. So does anyone else want to share? Okay, we'll move on. So a powerful word for me is gratitude. As a Christian, I use like the word Thanksgiving, you know, like thanks be to God. But, you know, universally, we can look at it as gratitude. And as I've been doing the personal work and you know, the self-awareness, it just keeps coming up, is that, you know, when we're ready to stop blaming others, events, the world, our childhood, blame, 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 and we start to take responsibility for our life, for our choices, for what we get to create, and then we take on a disposition of gratitude, and we are present, and we're grounded, and we take a look around, and we slow down. We don't have room for things like resentment or hate or anger, because it's pretty hard just like to say the word bubbles and to be angry, right? You can't be in a state of gratitude and be angry at the same time. So this is I've created a habit of gratitude. Has anybody else done this? Yes, awesome. So in my workshops, I pull up this little booklet here. I give this little booklet, and this is something that you can easily replicate at home or just do in your notebook that you're using right now. But it's a little notebook. I don't know if you can see it there. And it has 21 blank pages. And the reason it has 21 is because science has proven that it takes 21 consecutive days to create a new habit. And so if you were to write down 3 things every day that you're grateful for, and you know, I've worked with some people where this is so foreign to them, or they're in such a dark place that I've literally had a woman say to me, I don't even know what to be grateful for. And so I had to remind her that she's breathing. And I'm being a bit sarcastic, but seriously, like you're breathing. You woke up this morning. We've got clean water. We've got a roof over our head. Like, and that's just the beginning. So, and I'll tell you, that's this woman that did this, by the end of the 21 days, people were noticing and telling her how pretty she looked, how beautiful she looked, because the light was shining from the inside out, because it just changes the way that you see the world and the way that the world then sees you. So gratitude is so super powerful. I can't, so again, and it's a singular word in terms of gratitude. And maybe this is a word for you. I'm just putting it out there as a possibility. So the last exercise, and so Marty, you already touched on this a little bit, is how do you want to feel? So you said, you know, you feel great, feel light. So, you know, how do you want to feel? And I'm not meaning like 10 years down the road. Like, again, let's talk about if money and time were no object, how do you want to feel? So write down some of the words that describe how you want to feel. Maybe that's the opposite of the way you're feeling right now, Jill, where you're saying you're feeling stressed and taxed and yeah. Maybe you can go ahead and if you want to contribute, you can write some of those in the chat, and then Galen can share that.
So we got words coming in. Do you want me to share them?
Sure, yes, please.
Perfect. So we've got happy, free, accomplished, focused, creative, confident, clear-headed, energetic, successful, missing some here, at peace, grounded, excited, proud, accomplished, energetic, clear-headed. Don't know if I got that one.
Beautiful. Man, the energy just rose in the room, just you reading those out loud. Love that. The name of my company is Declare, and Dare to Declare. And it was kind of one of these things where when I first went in with the web design company, we were trying to figure out my brand. They're like, Debbi Sluys, Deb, Dare to Declare. Like, we're just throwing some things around. I'm like, yeah, that's pretty cool. You know, it's like fine wine. I've really grown into and matured, and it just has this incredible beauty with declaring. And when I hear people declare their dreams, declare their vision, and just like Galen just reading that list off, like the energy, the vibration is raised. And I get super excited about that. So thank you for contributing that. Beautiful. So choosing a power word. Think of a word that makes you feel joyful. So you wanted to like when Galen was reading off these words, we felt the energy. So your word should move you to feel like, yeah, that's like, when I don't know if you ever had a new puppy or, well, Galen just had a kitty on him, but when you have, a new little kitten and it's like the morning, you're like, ooh, hi. So it's like your word should be like super, like you're excited to say it and to see it. Your word, I would want for it to be inspiring for you. That when you hear it, you don't have, so the opposite would be that it makes you feel like a big responsibility on your shoulders, or that it feels like a should. So no shoulds allowed. That it makes you feel like comparing to someone else. So it should purely be inspirational. The other is that the word would move you into action. So there's 3 pieces to visioning. The vision itself, creating the vision, knowing what you want. And then there's the goal setting. So it's like creating this big vision and then coming back and saying, okay, so let's set goals that will achieve that, going towards that vision. But you can have all of that on the board. You can have all of that, your power word, and then you can sit on the couch and go, okay, universe, send it my way. Well, that's not how it works. Like with Galen, if he wants those people on the podcast, that's his vision. He can envision listening to, Brené Brown is on his podcast. So his goal is, okay, so my goal is to make a connection, find out what's my way in to be able to be in her circle, that I can have that connection. How do I do that? Who would I need to start reaching out to? What email do I need to do? And then it's press send and send the email. Because often we'll get to that point where we've got, I got to get all my ducks in a row. And then we get so overwhelmed with all of the organization and putting things all together that we lose the momentum and we don't do the very last part, which is the act. And I want to just draw your attention to law of attraction. If anyone's into the law of attraction, which I am, action is embedded in that. So the law of attraction doesn't work unless there's action. And it's like a boomerang. So when you act, boom, the universe will send it back to you. And the last is, and this is kind of a weird one, because often as coaches, we talk about getting out of your comfort zone, right? So get out of your comfort zone, don't be safe, jump out of the airplane. Well, I say jump out of the airplane, but make sure you've got your parachute on. So, this word needs to feel safe to you, that it's not so provocative that you don't actually want to be confident in saying it and owning it, if that makes sense. I was invited to be part of International Women's Day as a speaker here in my hometown for, what used to be Union Gas, but now it's Enbridge, I think it's called. Anyways, and they had really cool thing. I'm sure you've done a Wordle before, right, Galen? Like, have you done this kind of thing?
Yes.
Yeah. So for anyone that does workshops, Jill, maybe you've done this as well, where it's a free app and people just contribute words and then it creates this word art kind of thing. What was really cool was because I was offering it. This was right before, this was the end of February, so right before everything closed down for COVID. And I was offering it in person, but then they had all their satellite offices. They were all also able to send in words. So what happens is I asked, for people to contribute their power words. So the big words were the ones that were offered the most, and that's why they become larger. So they're the ones that are repeated. So I just thought this might be inspirational to you to see these words, and there may be something in there that speaks to you. What stands out to me is grace. It's my middle name, but I love the idea of grace, being vulnerable, but yet being strong, being undeserved, act of grace. So I love that. But I haven't shared with you yet. My word for this year is generous. So my past words have been, my very first word was kindness. And it was promoted by a woman who did a local TED Talk. She's also an educator. She talked about kindness. And at the time when I heard a TED Talk, I was like, kindness, I got it, check. I'm all about the lists and the check marks. I know what kindness is. I'm kind. And I could not shake her talk. It kept rattling around like a stone in my shoe for weeks afterwards. And I thought, and every time if I would have a conflict at work with my employees, or I would be in a conflict with, say, the government officials, I would think, man, if everyone would just show up kind, including myself and how I was showing up, we wouldn't have this. So anyways, I realized then the power of a word. And in my role as a childcare director, I shared it with the supervisors that were that I was managing, and they loved it. And so they passed it on to their team, who then the educators passed it on to the children. And the children ended up taking it, the school-age children, and they created a hashtag called Kind of a Movement. And it indicated kindness, but also physical literacy. So it became like about moving our bodies, but also about kindness. And so they were noting acts of kindness, random acts of kindness, and they created like a wreath with all the ribbons for acts of kindness. And it just seriously took on a life of its own from a single word. And so that's when I realized this is something super powerful, and I want to do this every year. So when I began my business, my other word was believe, that I was surrendering and just believing that this would be happening. And then ready, that I was ready. So I often talk within my vision board workshops, 3 words: ask, believe, and receive. So often we ask, we talked about what do you want? And then we need to, sit in that and believe that that will happen. But then it's the last part that often people get tripped up with, which is the receiving piece. So, and to be ready, open hands to receive. And from my experience, and again, as a Christian, I'm going to speak from that perspective, that God surprises me in ways that are unexpected. So I have a girlfriend who does affirmations, and her affirmations are always, saying it. So I'm so happy and grateful now that, and she declares it, but then she'll say, or something better, which is beautiful, because that's been my experience, is that often things come to me, to us, to people, that visionaries that I know, that are in unexpected ways, and often better than what we even imagined. So choosing a color. So thinking about if you were here in person with me, and I was to, sorry, Gail, I'm gonna just buzz over here for 1 sec. Oh, I thought I had it handy. I thought I had my cards handy, but I think they're at my studio. So if I were to fan out, and I'll show you the colors of the cards here. So if I were to fan out these cards and this cardstock, and you were to choose one, write down what color you would choose just in front of you. So would it be red, orange, yellow, deeper blue, purple, black, pink, green, blue-green, white, and that's gray, and then brown. Everybody have their color? Yep. Okay. So when participants that are finished a vision board, typically what I ask them to do during the dreaming one is to have the rest of the people interpret. So what is the dominant color on your card? So this is the meaning that I use. So I want you to take a peek and see what is the color that you chose and what's the meaning behind it. So you may want to take a photo of it or just write it down, whatever the meaning is that showed up. It's interesting because during this part of the vision board workshop, often participants, it's like they've been clearing their board and they've been going through the process, and then this color interpretation comes up. And what comes up is so powerful and so true because it's the subconscious that's speaking. It's your subconscious mind that's revealing itself. So you can hide it, you can be like, you know, oh yeah, you know, cool. And then your subconscious goes, well, what you're really interested in, like Galen discovered, you know, 3 times is love. That's the subconscious speaking when you're writing and you're like, what do I want? So that's coming up. And the same thing with the color. The color is revealing your subconscious. So what I would ask is for you to reflect on where else is this interpretation of this color, or whatever it may be, whether it be, you know, new growth, new beginnings, or happiness, or spirituality, mystery, whatever the color was that you chose, where else is that showing up in your life? What's really interesting is, as I've been doing more transformational internal work, is that I've been reflecting on the question and noticing that what I do somewhere is what I do everywhere. So I wrote a LinkedIn post today. It was about a Zumba class that I took on Monday. And it was outdoors. And my girlfriend is like, she's this cute little blonde, but she should have like long flowing black hair because she can salsa like nobody's business. And she's like just a Spanish dancing queen. And I'm in the back. And you ever watched the Seinfeld, Elaine Bennis? Right? And she's like, her one leg's like jerky, all jerky, and like that's me. I like, people are going right, I'm going left, and I'm a nightmare. And I realized, like, I was so frustrated. I'm like, what is wrong with me? And I realized it's because I was worried that everybody else around me is watching, and I'm just so focused on getting it right instead of listening to the music. And so as soon as I went back to that state of gratitude, being grateful for my surroundings, man, I can be out here moving my body. It's such a beautiful night. Thank you that it's not raining. Thank you that it's not super hot. Thank you that we've got a nice breeze. And like, thank you for this amazing friend. It was a fundraiser. So when I leaned into that, then I still wasn't a fantastic Zumba dancer, but definitely was feeling the flow. And again, and it didn't really matter at that point anymore. So it just changed my mindset. So what we do somewhere, and I know that I show up elsewhere like that, where I want to be on, and I want to have it perfect, and I worry what other people are thinking. And so those things show up elsewhere. So notice that for yourself. So what is it that, and that's a negative, but this positive, where else is this showing up in these areas? Does anybody want to contribute? Is there anything in the chat at all, Galen?
Yeah, so there was one comment of personal and health. I don't know if you want to expand on it, Marty, or not.
Want me to just talk? It's probably easier.
Sure.
Yellow has always been my favorite color, and I think in this particular case, it's pretty appropriate for me to have chosen that color for this exercise. For me, for the self-care, growth and self-awareness. I'm doing a lot of that, even at my age. I had for the last year and a half, I've been experiencing some major health challenges. And up until June of last year, I was the picture of health and all of that good stuff. And I would have told you that if somebody had asked, I'd have said, man, I feel like $1,000,000. And I did. And in July, I developed a problem in my right eye. It actually had been coming along, but it kind of blew up in the middle of July. And it's like my body has just been rebelling ever since. I wound up in the hospital in December for 6 days last year, anticipating some procedures and things. So my health is on my mind every single day. And it's been very, very frustrating. So I do need some health stimulation, absolutely. Even though I've got excellent doctors and under good care and trying to do my best to take care of myself and move forward. It's just, it's been, the last year and a half has just been such a challenge.
I appreciate what you're saying, you're frustrated, but I also appreciate the bottom piece of that is patience and wisdom. So, and just even how you described it so eloquently. And even though you're saying you're frustrated, I didn't hear that in your voice and in your tone. So your subconscious as well is saying you do have this, you have it within you to continue to fight this. So sending you a prayer of healing, Marty.
Thank you. And that I appreciate you pointing that out. I don't know that I would have ever gotten the patience and wisdom thing on my own.
Is there anyone else who would like to share what your color was and sort of if you've seen a connection with your life?
So in the chat, Susan shared color green. Word I've chosen is change. I'm just reading it in case you don't want to read it or unmute yourself, but definitely see this showing up in my professional life as I change the focus of my business.
So Susan, I was just wondering about that. So you were saying that you had already started your organizing business or that you're changing into organizing?
So I had started my business, but with the whole COVID thing, I no longer feel comfortable, going into somebody's house and touching so many of their belongings. So I've been switching to doing more, one-on-one through Zoom or emailing with people and offering those type of services where I can still help them, but those people are more do-it-yourselfers.
For sure. And how is that going?
It's taking me a while to really get my head around exactly what I want to offer and how I want to offer it. So yes, Marty, I am planning on doing workshops like this as well. And so I mean, it's kind of changing my business and doing more writing and producing, little booklets and things like that. Actually, the funny thing is my little booklets of them starting to write on organizing are called the Organized Squirrels Guides to, and then whatever the topic is. So of course, when I saw Galen's, squirrel journal, I was like, oh my God.
That is awesome.
I have a squirrel club.
Definitely.
Oh, that's awesome. So, yeah, I think what you can certainly celebrate, Susan, is that you didn't get stuck. So you're still looking for the vision, you're looking for direction, but that you didn't say, darn it, this is my business and this is how I do it. And to heck with you all, I'm just going to keep doing this, or I'm just going to stop. That you've decided that I'm going to pivot. And how else can I do this? So that in itself is something that, congratulations, good for you for being courageous enough to say, I'm open to what else there may be and how else I can make this successful. So, and the additional things, I know I certainly can help you. Galen has expertise also. So that's something that if you want to step in more into that, reach out to Galen, reach out to me, and we certainly can support you with your, with the business planning and what that looks like, and to get laser focused, and then to attract the clients that you're looking for, and to really get to what you want to do. But I also want to go back to your fictional writing. So, because you said, like, so is this organizational business to pay the bills?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Do you believe that fictional writing can pay the bills?
In a very rare case, I think it could. You know, I think doing that would be more for personal enjoyment, that it wouldn't necessarily be something that I would expect that to make thousands of dollars doing. It would be more for my own enjoyment and creativity.
So I want you to consider the fact that you could make money doing fictional writing. And so, right, so just, I want you to just put that out there, because the myth is, or what's the limiting belief is that I can't pay the bills but doing fictional writing. It may not be the way that, like how you said at the beginning with your business, with your organizing, there may be some kind of pivoting that needs to happen around how that's going to happen. But being that you're passionate about it, being that that's what you love, that's the crazy, like, if I could do anything, that's what I would want to do, then again, that's your vision. And to come back and create goals to work towards that. So, I mean, we haven't got, this is all the time we've got tonight to kind of dig into that, but I would love to work more with you, or again, Galen as well, around that. So certainly congratulations on being able to pivot with your business. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Anyone else want to contribute their color? Jill, go ahead. What are you eating, by the way? It looks so yummy.
It's almonds and carob chips.
Yeah.
So mine was blue-green, youth, new beginnings, and inspires confidence, which was pretty different from my word. But when I think about what my word might result in later, so my word was quiet. And, you know, if the quiet that I'm craving winds up energizing me, then perhaps I will have more youth, new beginnings, and confidence. And I could definitely see the theme of that in almost all the areas when you show the different areas of life, of like, some of these are happening, or would be nice if they were happening.
So what would you be doing in the quiet?
Nothing. Absolutely nothing, which I've started to do a bit, and I've discovered that's how I can actually tap into my intuition, my creativity, because I'm not like so full of stuff. I can actually hear myself.
Okay, so you're not doing nothing. You're actually tapping into your creativity. That's what I heard you say.
That is, I guess it's not the only thing, but it's one of the things. Also just recharging because I'm tired.
So I just wanted to get really laser focused here on the words you're using. So
Okay.
your space of quiet is not void. It's actually recharging. Okay. So there's energy flowing, and you're tapping into your intuition.
Okay. Yeah.
Ideas are flowing. So I want you to think about those words as well, and what that looks like, so that it's not just this quiet fog, but that there's actually creativity that's happening within that space of quiet, that what you actually want.
Okay.
That's like when people say they want to retire, and they're like, I can't wait to retire. And then they all like crash, because it's like, that's not actually what they wanted. It wasn't like they wanted to not do anything. And like you said, what do you want to do? You want to make an impact on the world.
Yeah.
So, but I love that you are seeking the recharging, because I agree 100%. I think for every one of us, we all get to find what is that space where we recharge. I watched Star Trek with my son, and there's this Borg woman on one of the shows, and she like gets into this module where she like recharges. Her name is Seven. Do you know Deep Space? No, not Deep Space Nine. Which one? Voyager. And she's like in this. That's what makes me think of recharging. But that's so nerdy of me. But My space is the shower. So when I'm in the shower, I literally have to have a notebook on the counter because it's like ideas are just like flying. Like I'm like, oh, that's awesome. That's like, and I think, why am I not quiet more often? And that's really where I can recharge, get creative, ideas start flowing. So you have a spot where you can carve out that time for yourself?
Not really currently, but I will give that some thought.
So even, again, when you're bathing in the morning or in the evening, to think about, okay, so I'm actually quiet. What are my thoughts doing?
Okay. Like you're actually asking me right now what the thoughts are doing?
No, I'm just
or
giving you
that's
that as a
actually
suggestion.
just, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. I also carve out time every morning to pray. So some people meditate. So that's a non-negotiable. I have 5 non-negotiables. Eat, pray, love. And then my other is sleep. So to get enough sleep. Sleep is my kryptonite, my superpower. And then the last is action towards my goals. So those are my 5 non-negotiables. And so my praying is also done in the evening. And I usually fall asleep praying. So and again, that's where I'm in a state of gratitude, where I reflect on my day. So as my head's hitting the pillow, I'm grateful for my children, what I was able to, clients, like people like you'll be in my prayers tonight. I'm grateful I got to talk to you. And yeah, so that's, again, a way. But when we're not intentional about these things, it's like a meeting that's not scheduled. It's like, oh crap, I missed it. Like if you don't schedule it, it's going to slip away. So to really, again, what's non-negotiable that I must do? I mean, our bodies won't let us not eat after a certain time. It's like, I'm going to collapse or I get really hungry or whatever. But, meditation and self-care and all these other things, our body won't tell us unless it starts to have health issues and it becomes really symptomatic. But in the short term, you won't see it. So it's important for you to schedule in that and be intentional around those, that for yourself. Moving on here. Is there anyone else that wanted to share? Kaylin, is there anything else in the chat?
Sorry, unmuting myself. Nope, that's it.
Okay. So Jill, sorry, was that helpful? Yeah. Oh. So when you create your card, you want to have your word to be the central piece, whether it be in the center or just that it be prominent on your card. You can do it in a number of different ways. You could print it off of your computer. You could do it like a ransom note, like you just take all different letters and kind of make it that way.
I like that.
Or you can find it in a magazine. You may be able to actually just discover the word, or you can write it out if you've got nice handwriting and you want to just write it out. So embellish your card with images that feel like your power word. And I'll keep going back to that word feel, that make you feel good. That as I had earlier in that photo about stickers, I had butterflies. Many people choose butterflies. They see it as transformational, starting the cocoon unaware. And then as they become more self-aware, they're doing the personal development, they feel this transformation into this beautiful butterfly, whatever it is for you. Or it could be that, a cardinal, some people, cardinal or a penny, it reminds them of someone, a lost loved one who is inspirational to them or who they feel that gives them comfort. So maybe that may be something as well that you want to contribute to your card. Here's an example of these are not, this is before I actually did my experiment at the wedding show, but I did have the idea with the recipe cards, and these were well wishes. These were cards that were left by people that came to my open house for my studio, and they were well wishes to future participants coming to workshops. So they were giving their blessing, they were sending their good energy, they were, wishing people well in this space. And so I just love them so much. I just put them all on this cork board and I've left it. It's been there now for two and a half years. and it's just become this piece of art. But the energy that it creates is so positive. It's right outside the bathroom door when you come into my studio. And what I want to say is that your card as well, think about where do you want to put it, because it will create some positive energy. Thinking back on this gratitude journal, for example, I had one of the participants, she used to work for Children's Aid, and very toxic, right? So much sadness, so much stress. And so she, when her little booklet was full with all of her gratitude words, she put this right on her computer, right by her in her office. She said the positive energy, she said it feels like it combated some of the negative toxicity that was around her. And so your card can do the same. So thinking about that. The other thing that you can do, I don't know if you can see that, but on my phone, this is my newest vision board. So you could also take a photo of your card, make it your screensaver. So it's something that pops up again and you're going to see it on a regular basis. So just, as I said, decide where you want to put your card. You may want to take a photo of it and put on your mobile device. And then at some point you may wish to design a full vision board. And I would be happy to help you work that out. So once you decide on your word, think of it also in a way of an affirmation. So I will. So in my case, it's I will be generous. And so, you know, like when Galen and I talked and he's like, hey, would you come to this group and share what you know around vision boards? I'm like, 100% yes. I want to show up generous. And I want to give 100% when I'm here to help serve you. So thinking about your word in that way too, like how can you create an affirmation like I will? So ending up here, we're right at our 9 o'clock time. If you wish to do your vision board, I do have a workshop booked. I was supposed to go to the UK, so as much as Galen was saying, I mean, his trip sounds like phenomenal, like Israel, what? But I was supposed to go to England and be there for a week and then do a vision board, but actually my flight has been canceled. So the next best thing is I'm streaming it live with the woman I was going to do it with in England, which is why it's starting at 6 a.m. But there is this live vision board workshop. She's doing it in the UK with a small group there. And then I'm going to be streaming live here from my office and offering this vision board workshop. It's $99 if you wanted to do it in the comfort of your home. I also have a masterclass online on my website. So you go to dare2declare.com and there's a evergreen masterclass where it's 8 chapters, 30 lessons. They're very short videos. It was filmed actually in my studio, and it walks you step by step how to do and how to create a vision board that works. And then lastly, oops. Oh, it's going to have music. Oh no, sorry. Okay, I'll pass through. The music that's playing, I hired this band. I've got a girl band coming to my retreat. And these are some of the images. It's at the Ben Miller Inn. So I'll pass, okay. So those girls are phenomenal. They're like, I'm super excited. It's for me. I hired the girl band for me. I'm just gonna be honest. They're so cute and they sing folk music. But anyways, it's a full vision board workshop and it's gonna be November 13th, 14th. Sorry, Marty, sorry, Galen, it's just for women. Yeah, and it's half full. I've got 8 women. I've got 15 spots, and it's going to be amazing. So you can find that on my website as well and register for that. And that is it. So here's my contact information. So there's my website again, and you can find me on social media. So if we're not already connected on social media, I'd love to connect with you. I'm on, as Galen said earlier, that's how we've connected, he and I, on Instagram, and I'm also on Facebook. And as I said, I wrote a post on LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn as well. So I'd love to connect with you and find out more about you as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I had a question. Thank you so much for walking us through those exercises. I always love taking some time to just brainstorm. I find that I always surprise myself when I take a little bit of time. Anyone who's taking the time to do the journal, it starts with a brainstorm exercise. And first off, I did have a question though. Like, I mean, can we share like people do people have their words by now? Like I've definitely zoned in on like one that keeps popping up, but I was curious if it, I know we're going over time a little bit here, but I thought it might be cool to hear what words people have come up with, if they've come up with them. And then I'm definitely going to take my word, build my mini card, and then put it on my Instagram. If anyone, I'll tag Debbi in it, of course, in case, so you can see it. But yeah, does anyone have a word yet? I'd be interested to see, or if people need more time to sort of like look at it. What do you usually find, Debbi? Like, do people?
Some people know right away,
Mm-hmm.
and especially even coming into this workshop, if they saw the description, they've already been thinking about it. And then sometimes it's like when they start doing the exercises, like you said, it's like, oh no, that's not the word anymore. So, Marty says he wants you to tell them what yours is.
Mine is, okay, I'll say it, soaring. SOARING, soaring.
That is awesome.
That's what I keep coming back to, like flight, flying, wings just keep popping up for me. So I'm excited to make my my word board for the mini board.
No, I'm excited to see it. So yes, please tag Galen, tag me if you're on Instagram, and on Facebook as well. I'd love you to connect with me that way and just display your card. And there's so much power in declaring. So by sharing it with your network, you're going to then, again, create this other discussion. So people may say to Galen, well, why is your word soaring? Tell me about that. And you'll say, well, actually, because I am going to do a podcast with Brené Brown and with, I can't remember, Brené Brown stands out to me. But, and they'll say, well, you know what? My cousin actually works there. What? But it happens that way, and I've seen magical things happen where the power of declaring, you're bringing the resources to you.
Yeah. And in case anyone needs a little bit of time to put down their word, or if they're still, I see Jill, you put that you're still inspired by quiet, but you'll mull it over to see if something else pops up. Marty, confident. Nice. And I'd like to really thank everyone. So some of you, I don't know, maybe this is the first time you're actually seeing me. Jill is the person here that's owned the Squirrel Journal for the longest, probably. Other people have picked it up in more recent months, but the way that people used to find it was they knew me and then they knew about my journal, and now it's turned into the opposite a little bit, where people find out about it and then they see who I am. So it's really striking me just how cool it is that I've created this thing that people are enjoying and using, and it's bringing people together in places like this. So I appreciate you all, Jill, Susan, Marty, Tiffany, Bobby. I really, really appreciate it. And it's just very cool to me to think that people from all over have joined tonight to work on this, this power word. And I'm excited to see what people come up with. So I will send a follow-up email to everyone who's registered with links to follow Debbi on social media, link to my Instagram in case you don't follow me. I'll be posting my mini board up there, and I'd love to see what other people post. But yeah, thank you so much, everyone. Awesome. Well, everyone have a good night. I appreciate you all, and I guess some of you maybe are in time zone slightly earlier than mine. I don't know if anyone's in a later time zone than mine, but perfect. All right. Take care, everyone.
Thank you so much. Bye.